Our female calves are born up at the top. We have a calving pen, and they are born in the calving pen. After birth, they are brought down here to the elevator. The average weight gain in 2024 closed at 0.730 kilograms. This year we have increased it to 0.760 kilograms in this initial phase of milk feeding.
This property benefits greatly from an ingredient that aids production and helps reduce costs, which is brewery byproduct. We have a craft brewery very close to the farm, so this ingredient arrives here at a very low cost.
Here is our biodigester, which was installed in 2020. We are approaching the 6th year since installation. It is a German system. We can either inject the energy it produces into the grid or use it directly on site. During peak times, such as during milking, we have the biodigester running.
The caretaker used to have about 8 to 10 head of cattle. With the increase in the herd, butter was also sold. Butter was produced before there was a dairy plant. Milk was produced, butter was sold, and the whey was used to rear piglets.
Jesse sent a message saying that he won't be making videos anymore because you haven't subscribed to the Santa Fe channel. So subscribe now, and he will continue recording on farms around the world.
Here we are in our calving pen. The bedding in the calving pen is wheat straw, just like the bedding used for the female calves. Wheat straw in the calving pen is better adapted because the particles are coarser, which minimizes the risk of aspiration by newborn female calves and also of navel contamination in the calving pen. The cows are brought in as soon as they begin labor, and after calving, the placenta or any other debris is removed and additional wheat straw bedding is added. Here, we have the door to the elevator. This is where the elevator used in the calf area is positioned. The elevator rises, the female calf is placed inside, and then it descends for the initial neonatal care. Our female calves are born in the calving pen and then brought here into the elevator. Our elevator is equipped with a heating system similar to those used in pig farming, with heated ventilation. The calves stay inside for 1 day in winter and remain until they are dry in summer. Here they receive their first care, navel treatment, drying, and colostrum administration. We use colostrum with over 25% Brix and aim to reach up to 10% of body weight, though we are typically unable to achieve this. Nonetheless, they receive at least 3.5 liters. We prefer fresh colostrum from the dam, and if it does not reach the ideal Brix level, we fortify it. If fresh colostrum is not available at milking, we use the colostrum bank. Any colostrum we freeze is always above 25% Brix. In some cases, powdered colostrum is provided. Only after they leave the elevator do they go to the individual hutches, where they stay until day 5. There, they receive transition milk from the dam up to day 3, and afterwards they receive a pooled milk from fresh cows. From the first day, they already receive concentrate and water. At this stage, blood sampling for serum protein evaluation is performed, along with ear tagging and tail hair clipping to minimize dirtiness. After the 5th day, they are moved to the group calf pen, where we use an automatic feeder, and they remain there until weaning. From day 5 to day 10, they receive 7 liters of milk. Let me show you. 7 liters of milk with 130 grams of dry matter. After day 10, they receive 8 liters of milk until day 40 and then begin gradual weaning. Female calves that handle 8 liters and continue to be hungry are increased to 9 liters. Not all of them receive this, but about 50% receive 9 liters. The others remain on 8 liters because they are unable to consume 9 liters. After weaning, they stay here an additional 10 days to prevent weaning stress combined with the stress of moving groups. Here, they receive the initial multi-component diet from agrare and fresh water. We generally do not offer forage at this stage. Forage is introduced only after weaning. The average weight gain for the year 2024 was 730 grams. This year, we increased it to 760 grams in this first phase of the milk feeding period. Our goal would be to reach approximately 900 grams. Last year, we experienced some problems with pneumonia, with certain outbreaks, and this year, at the beginning of the year, we faced similar issues. We have already had some animals that exceeded 1 kilogram per day, which would be our ideal scenario, but our target remains an average of 900 grams per day. Our focus on raising female calves lies precisely in the outcomes we expect in the future. The greater the weight gain during this initial phase, the higher the milk yield, so to speak, in the future. This is because at this stage, they are developing the mammary gland itself, rather than accumulating fat. They are growing rather than gaining fat. Later, in the rearing phase, they start to gain more weight and grow less. Thus, the objective is for them to achieve the greatest possible growth during this initial period up to weaning. Currently, some of the management practices we have adopted include, above all, the use of intranasal vaccines for pneumonia in female calves. We currently use NASIN and Enforce. We have observed significant results in reducing pneumonia outbreaks in animals that have already received the vaccine compared to those before this practice was implemented. This is carried out together with blood sampling for serum protein evaluation, and then the intranasal vaccine is administered. After 45 days, a booster is given via the intramuscular route. Until the 5th day, the female calves are housed in individual hutches, and their bedding is made of wheat straw. The wheat straw contributes both to the comfort of the female calf and to maintaining temperature. Thus, in winter, we provide a larger amount of straw so they can make a nest and stay warm, while in summer, we use a slightly smaller amount, but still enough to ensure comfort. Under the wheat straw, there are rubber mats to help the female calves stand up. If only the plastic area were available, it would be more slippery, and the straw on top would make it even more so, making it harder for them to remain standing. The rubber mat helps in this regard, in addition to maintaining comfort and temperature. It is important to change the bedding daily and at least remove the area containing manure to reduce internal dirt. What does this dirt result in? It leads to a greater number of flies, especially in summer, and can cause health problems, chiefly diarrhea, if female calves are kept in a dirtier environment. Therefore, it is crucial to keep them always clean. The same applies to the water and feed troughs, which must be replaced and sanitized daily, as they often become quite dirty. Here, we have a chart for monitoring the days of the female calves. Every morning, the pin is moved to the next day, just to keep track of the age of each female calf and to know when blood collection for serum protein evaluation will take place, when they will be dehorned, and when they will be moved to the collective calf barn. This is our automatic feeder. We have used automatic feeders since we began rearing female calves on the property in 2022. Although the model was different previously, and since last year we have had this one, we chose to use the automatic feeder to facilitate management practices. Labor availability is currently a challenge on our property, so the feeder greatly assists in this regard. It identifies the female calves using ear chips. You register the female calf, it recognizes her age, and performs gradual weaning. Currently, until 10 days of age, they receive 7 liters of milk. From 10 to 40 days, they receive 8 liters of milk per day, and after that, gradual weaning is carried out until 80 days, when milk provision ceases. Powdered milk is kept inside, and we presently use spray green. Inside the machine, it mixes with water. Here the water is dispensed, and here the powdered milk. The machine prepares up to 600 milliliters per feeding, to avoid having milk standing for too long, as there is no water bath to maintain temperature. If no female calf comes to drink for more than 10 minutes, the feeder discards the milk to prevent spoilage. The feeder is also equipped with scales. Each time a female calf enters, she is weighed, using only the front legs for calculation in order to determine the actual weight of the female calf. Thus, it can send an alert if she is not gaining or if she is losing weight. Another important feature of this feeder is that it sprays water every time a female calf exits, thereby removing excess saliva. Although it does not destroy bacteria, it removes dirt, thereby reducing the number of flies on the premises. Another important aspect is its ability to calculate the sucking speed of the female calves. If the sucking speed decreases from usual, an alert is triggered, as this typically indicates a health problem. Here we have our Colostrum bank, and we also have a reminder for employees detailing the processes of freezing, thawing, and administering colostrum. Monthly training is provided for them. Typically, I conduct a brief training session. In addition, there is a reminder available in case any questions arise. Inside, the colostrum is stored frozen in Ziploc bags. And here we have the colostrum thaw, which reaches a maximum temperature of 50 degrees Celsius. I prefer not to let it exceed this temperature due to the risk of protein degradation. Generally, it takes approximately 1 hour to thaw 2 liters of colostrum. Here we have the on-farm laboratory, which is utilized for fecal egg count, OPG, blood analysis in suspected cases of bovine hemoparasitosis, and also for investigating clinical and subclinical mastitis. Currently, we use blood agar plates as well as AccuMass plates, which identify the etiological agent based on the color change. Here we have the incubator, the microscope, and inside are our plates. These are AccuMass plates, and each color that appears after swabbing the milk corresponds to a specific etiological agent.
We are now in the corn silage bunker, a masonry silo with a concrete floor, which greatly facilitates the operational management on the farm, especially the process of unloading silage. Losses are very minimal, just a small amount scattered on the ground. Without this masonry structure, we would lose much more, especially on rainy days. This design also simplifies the use of the loader when removing silage. For example, the operator scrapes with the loader bucket in a defined direction along the bottom of the silage, removing any surplus. We try to maintain an inclined plane during removal. The loader starts from the top, filling as it goes, and finishes at the base for final leveling. This structure significantly enhances the handler's routine. The feed wagon remains stationary, and there is a step at the back. The loader moves between the silos to deliver feed. Here in our region, there is a good availability of machinery, and service providers constantly improve their operations, partly due to the demands from us, nutritionists, regarding ideal particle size and processing quality. We have observed advancements in this area. This silage has a dry matter content of 37 to 38%, and starch levels around 37.5 to 38%, indicating excellent nutritional quality and preservation. The starch content aids fermentation and ingredient conservation. This is silage from this season, already ensouled for 6 to 7 months, which improves kernel digestibility. The silage is inoculated, and for compaction, we aim for 25 to 30% of the total ensiled mass as tractor weight per hour. Although achieving this can be challenging, occasional heavy loads allow thorough compaction. For sealing, we use an oxygen barrier film, and the main site of dry matter loss is on the top, yet overall waste is very low. The masonry structure, with its solid walls, enables effective pressure from the tractors during compaction, reaching densities of 750 to 800 kilograms of matter per cubic meter, an optimal value that prevents deterioration, especially with 20 to 25 centimeter daily removals. It is, therefore, excellent. Here we have mini bags placed every 5 meters along the silage cover to weigh it down, acting as belts that ensure oxygen exclusion, which is reinforced by a heavy cover at the silo face. We use an oxygen barrier plastic, 200 to 300 micrometers thick, with last year's recycled plastic sheet on top, plus the bags themselves. The bags are filled with shredded tires, plastic, or similar material, making them easy to handle during unsealing and far less labor-intensive compared to covers weighted with soil or sand. Occasionally, we still use some tires, but overall, this method significantly streamlines daily management on the farm. Here we have sorghum silage, which is used for heifer rearing and for dry cows. This ingredient offers great potential, as we have already discussed. It is desirable to have moderate digestibility and ensure animals are satiated. Sorghum silage contains a considerable number of kernels, but even with modern forage harvesters and suitable fermentation time, the kernels often remain uncracked. Nutritional analysis shows a starch content close to 23 to 24%. However, in practical feeding, this is often not utilized, as cows do not digest and extract value from these kernels. This feature makes the ingredient particularly useful for confined heifers, where low dietary energy is advantageous. It is unfortunate to see the potential of this ingredient wasted, but for this application in the diet, it is performing excellently. Here on this farm, the feed wagon is located in the lower section. The tractor is currently not here, but it is usually connected to the feed wagon in that spot. We have a camera for monitoring the scale system and the upper compartment. This here is the step I previously mentioned. The feed wagon remains stationary at this location after the raw materials have been brought down. The loader moves throughout the property to collect ingredients: sorghum silage, corn silage, which accounts for the majority of the diet. Therefore, the feed wagon is always parked in this designated area, which allows the feeder operator to have a clear view inside the wagon and to manage feed ingredient placement without having to raise the loader excessively. We are in the feed room. On this property, diets are prepared on-site for each specific group. A specific diet is formulated for every batch of animals on the farm. We are now in the area dedicated to mineral inclusion. One significant challenge when formulating diets directly in the feed wagon is the concern regarding the homogeneity of diet mixing. When adding dry ingredients from these silos, which contain soybean hulls and soybean meal, we also use this scale to weigh the minerals. The minerals are placed into this funnel, weighed on the scale, and then conveyed into the feed wagon via a screw conveyor at the same time as the dry ingredients. This process allows for a more homogeneous mixture and ensures excellent incorporation of the microingredients in the diet, thereby improving dietary delivery on the farm. For operational convenience, we chop the pre-dried forage one day prior to its inclusion in the diet. On average, 1 bale of pre-dried forage is used each day. The bale is loaded into the feed wagon, chopped, and then discharged at this site. To further facilitate handling, the feeder operator uses a fork to distribute the forage and adjust each batch individually. This strategy not only improves fiber processing, allowing precise control of particle size, but it also accelerates the total mixed ration preparation, as previously, the operator would need to add the pre-dried forage, concentrates, then chop before moving to the next ingredient. This would require a chopping period of approximately 10 to 15 minutes per batch. Now, chopping is performed a day in advance. The forage remains in the wagon for about 20 to 30 minutes, and 2 chopped bales are used for roughly 2 days. Over there, wheat straw is prepared for the diets of heifers, pregnant heifers, and dry cows, as well as cottonseed and canola meal with extruded components. All diets are prepared in this area with the feed wagon stationed below. This property benefits substantially from an ingredient that is both cost-effective and supportive of production: brewery byproduct. We have a craft brewery located very close to the farm, allowing us to procure this ingredient at a very low cost. The byproduct consists almost entirely of barley. There is no corn, because craft breweries do not use unmalted cereals. This byproduct arrives with approximately 22.0 to 23.0% dry matter, is easily moldable, and has between 20.0 and 22.0% protein. Unlike other brewery residues that may contain corn, this one exhibits a slightly higher ether extract at around 9.0 to 10.0%. Storage was previously a challenge, especially during summer when production increases, and since we are the sole farm sourcing this ingredient under an exclusive agreement, we must dispose of the total quantity. The cows therefore serve as consumers of a nutrient-rich byproduct that would otherwise be discarded. The storage issue was mitigated by mixing the brewery byproduct with corn, then ensiling the mixture in silage bags to produce a rehydrated corn grain silage with brewery residue. This mixture consists of approximately 500 kilograms of corn and 500 kilograms of barley, which is allowed to ferment for about 60 days before utilization. This process has resulted in improved starch digestibility, as well as preservation of an ingredient that would otherwise deteriorate or need to be discarded due to poor conservation. Thus, we transform 2 challenges into a significant advancement for the farm's production. This is the yard used for the grain silage operation, referred to locally as high-moisture corn. Though it does not precisely fit the traditional definition, the yard is empty at the moment because we are entering the summer season, which increases the supply of barley to the farm, thereby necessitating ongoing silage production. The ingredient preserved exceptionally well in the silage bags, resulting in a material with 53% dry matter, 55% starch content, 14% protein, and approximately 6.5 to 7.0% ether extract. starch digestibility has improved, and overall ingredient preservation has been enhanced. The product exhibits minimal storage loss, which is attributable to its high starch content. Here on this farm, we store the ingredients in a box style, which facilitates access with a loader and enables us to shape and collect what is needed. Here we have the minerals section. A distinguishing feature of this farm is the use of customized minerals designed for its specific conditions. Thus, each group and each challenge has a product tailored to that requirement and that animal. This practice has led to greater efficiency in the use of these products, as they are not generic solutions for all animals. Here we have cottonseed, which is stored in another location. We purchase it in bulk, in semi-trailer loads, to achieve a more competitive price. There's also chopped straw, handled in the same way as the ryegrass silage. We chop and unload the straw for weekly use. On many occasions, for example, there may be 2, 3, 4, or 5 animals in the prepartum group. If you place the whole straw bale into the mixer, it will seldom reach the ideal particle size. Therefore, we insert a whole bale of wheat straw into the wagon, allow it to be chopped and processed, unload it, and then dispense it as needed when preparing the diets. Here we also have corn used for preparing our high moisture corn. At this time of year, stocks are full, and as the demand or surplus from breweries arises, we direct it here. This is extruded soybean meal mixed with canola, with the aim of increasing protein diversity. By using the box system, we can purchase larger volumes and obtain more attractive prices. All of these initiatives contribute to achieving both high productivity and favorable production costs.
Here we have our biodigester, which was installed in 2020, now approaching its 6th year of operation. It is a German system. In Brazil, both German and Canadian systems are available. The difference with the German system is the presence of an agitator and a heating system. As a result, it operates with higher dry matter content, which is crucial for us since we work exclusively with bovine manure, which is drier than swine manure. Inside the biodigester, there are bacterial groups. Some thrive at lower temperatures and others at higher ones, making the heating system essential to maintain a temperature range of 37 to 39 degrees Celsius, within which both groups of bacteria can function effectively. The initial investment in 2020 enabled us to build the biodigester, and in 4.5 years it has already paid for itself. Currently, it generates energy for the dairy, the entire farm, and 6 on-farm residences. The energy produced can either be injected into the grid or used directly on site. During peak hours, such as milking times, the biodigester runs, while at other times it is switched off. It produces more energy than we consume, with the surplus fed into the grid and later credited against any account associated with the owner's CNPJ, tax registration.
My name is Thaler. I started this farm. In the early days, when I was about 18 or 19 years old, I went to Porto União for an internship and brought back some Holstein heifers by train. The herd gradually increased. Initially, there were about 8 to 10 head. As demand rose, we used to produce butter. At a time when there was a dairy plant, we would sell the milk, process it into butter, and the whey was used to raise piglets for sale. Later, when the dairy emerged, our focus shifted to selling milk. However, during the high inflation period, we stopped milk sales due to losses from the long payment delays, and instead concentrated on rearing heifers for resale. Eventually, my sons Arno and Roberto, and later Rogenio, began raising heifers as well. When the herd outgrew the original facilities, the sons went their separate ways. Arno took over this property, focusing on milk production. I started all this at age 18, and today, at 87, almost 60 years have passed. I consider myself fortunate that my son continued and expanded the farm, as in many cases, successors lose interest. We are fortunate that growth has been rapid, especially with the advent of electronic technology. I gradually transferred responsibility to the next generation, giving them the freedom to manage as they saw fit. Now, succession continues with Julia, who has completed her degree in veterinary medicine and is taking over management of the dairy herd, while Arno and his son Murilo manage the crop operations. I am confident the farm's future is secure, with Julia leading the dairy segment and the rest of the family overseeing agriculture.